It's Two's Versus, and it's time for another Goat vs. Fish Morning Motivational. Here at the Goat vs. Fish Morning Motivational, we can hear echoes of Goat vs. Fish Morning Motivational happening in the background as we start the stream, and Goat vs. Fish Morning Motivational. We can hear echoes of Goat vs. Fish Morning Motivational happening. Silence! Here on the Goat vs. Fish Morning Motivational, we wake up so you don't have to. The Versus is about to begin. Let's hear some musications from Sonny the Sunfish. Are you goat or are you fish? Take it away, Sonny! T-Bear505 is in the Versus. Karmic289 is in the Versus. Vind is here with Goat vs. Fish. Shizzy House is here with Goat vs. Fish. BloodRain420 is here with Goat vs. Fish. They're already joining the Versus. They're already joining the Versus. Celebration. Welcome back to Goat vs. Fish. We missed you. Time to clean up the Versus. Time to clean up the old Versus of Fish vs. Goat. Vind, welcome to Goat vs. Fish. Pickletone, you welcome to Goat vs. Fish. These are all becoming familiar names to you, yes, Sonny?
Oh, yeah, I know.
For those keeping score, it was the fish who triumphed. It was the fish who triumphed. The fish triumphed last Versus, but that was a millennium ago. Back when it was Fish versus Goat. Let's make it Goat vs. Fish. Let's make it Goat vs. Fish. Go! Is... at... We watch the reconstruction of Goat vs. Fish. All letters you see are hand-painted by Goat vs. Fish. Musication silence! How does this look to you, Sonny? How's that look?
Goat versus Fish.
Goat versus Fish?
Fish.
But this is Goat versus Fish. Why are you saying such a preposterous thing as Goat versus Fish?
Because when I see goat and the versus, I see the fish. But the fish is... maybe the fish is on the fence today.
The fish is on the fence today? Well, that can't be. The fish is a fish.
The fish is on the dyslexia fence.
Kari Pakaya 41 who says, yo!
Kari Pakaya! Pratap.
Ah, you know this one. You
yes,
know this
I know.
one?
Yes, I know. I know this. I know this congregator. I don't know if this guy is a goat or fish.
Well, why don't you ask?
Kari Pakaya, are you goat or fish?
Are you goat or fish? This goat versus fish. Well, versus. Let's try this. Let's try this configuration. Goat versus fish. Well, versus versus. 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 Goat versus fish. It's goat versus fish. It's goat versus fish. Celebration for goat versus fish. Celebration for goat versus fish. Welcome to your Goat vs. Fish Morning Motivational. Let's talk about friends. Let's talk about friends. Let's talk about new friends on the Morning Motivational. Can we get a whoop whoop? Whoop whoop. Okay, that's nice, but it's got a little too much Berkeley on it. We just want to whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop.
Oh, that was a bit under enthusiastic. Can we get a whoop whoop?
Whoop whoop.
Celebration, celebration, celebration. Sonny with the whoop whoop. There are many ways to greet one another. And Goat vs. Fish has now joined and made celebrations with the Juggalos. Celebration for the Juggalos. What is a Juggalo? Is it fish? Is it goat? Well, fenced if I know. Goat vs. Fish wanted to learn if Juggalos were goat or if they were fish. So Goat vs. Fish went with Green Jellÿ on tour to Denver and Albuquerque, New Mexico. And there, Goat vs. Fish did encounter the very face-painted, young and old, meek and bold Juggalos. And they said whoop whoop to Goat vs. Fish. They said whoop whoop to Goat vs. Fish. And Goat vs. Fish returned the verses. Goat vs. Fish returned the verses. Oh, we have been warned. We have been warned of the Juggalos. Do you know what they say? What do you know? What do you know, Sonny? What do you know about Juggalos? Tell us.
The Juggalos are not to be fenced with.
They're not to be fenced with. They're not to be fenced with. Let's hear a sick riff about that. The Juggalos are not to be fenced with. We have heard that the Juggalos are even known to fling turd. Have you heard that Juggalos fling turd at acts they don't like? Have you heard this before?
Is it their own turd, or is it the turd of another goat and fish?
Well, we think that once the Juggalos all gather together, that it could be any turd from anywhere. One Juggalo's turd is another Juggalo's turd. It's all just one big turd in the Juggalo family, you see.
That's beautiful.
It's a beautiful verses. And we've heard they would rip the goat and fish limb from limb. Oh, and of course, Goat vs. Fish, we were going to JCW Juggalo Championship Wrestling. So we knew it was a versus. It was a versus of violence. It was a versus of violence, though we hear it might be staged. Have you heard that wrestling is a fake versus? Did you ever hear that?
Those are false allegations, and I won't stand for it.
Oh, you won't stand for it?
Yes.
Well, don't sit for it.
On the fence?
Don't sit on the fence. Would you rather stand for it or sit on the fence?
I'd rather stand a side of the fence on a side of my choosing.
And what side is that? Are you goat or are you fish?
Fish!
Make some noise for the fish! Celebrate for fish! There you are. You're like a bright, sunny sunfish. Look at that. Bright, sunny sunfish. Make some noise for Sunny the Sunfish. Sunny the Sunfish is our musication maker. Exclamation point Sun in the chat. Join our musication maker, our musication maestro, our musication master, It's Sunshine on Twitch. Let's get them up to 50 followers. But without further offense, Goat vs. Fish. Yes, we went with Green Jellÿ. To meet the Juggalos, to see Violent J host the JCW. And Goat vs. Fish, yes, we had heard all of these warnings. Beware these Juggalos. They're foul, dirty, cussing, disgusting, mannerless fence creatures that paint their faces black and white, even though there is no black or white, there's only goat and fish. They warned Goat versus Fish, stay away. Stay away, they'll murder you in your car, Goat versus Fish. But Goat versus Fish is not afraid. Goat versus Fish is not afraid. For they said that about the metalheads. They said, Goat versus Fish, beware the metalheads. They're spiky and dangerous. They'll reject Goat versus Fish. They said it about the punks. They said, they're also spiky and dangerous and smell slightly worse, and they'll reject Goat versus Fish and also don't have as much technical musical background, but that's okay. It's a different kind of verses. Goat versus Fish has been warned so many times about this other group of fence creatures that isn't going to welcome Goat versus Fish, but Goat versus Fish is not afraid because Goat versus Fish has been a fan of Insane Clown Posse for at least 5 minutes. And so Goat versus Fish went to meet the Juggalos, and we asked the Juggalos, are you goat or are you fish? And how do you think they reacted to Goat versus Fish?
They were indecisive at first. One might have thought they were sitting on the fence, but then they chose a side.
That's an interesting versus. That's a fair versus. But Goat versus Fish is here to tell you that whether they chose goat or fish, and we will learn, we will reveal, we're going to do a little Goat versus Fish recap here on Goat versus Fish. What we can tell you now is that they accepted Goat versus Fish. Celebration! They accepted Goat versus Fish! And Goat versus Fish accepts you Juggalos. Goat versus Fish accepts you Juggalos into the family of Goat versus Fish. Welcome to the verses! Welcome to the verses! And in this verses, we ask, are you goat or are you fish? But before we start counting the goat and fish, before we even start counting the goat and fish, we think we should show you some Juggalo cred from Goat versus Fish. First verses, Goat versus Fish. We met a small one. We met a small one. Yes, one of the tiny ones, and we gave them a sticker that says Goat versus Fish, and then they gave an offering to Goat versus Fish, and it looks like this. It looks like this.
Whoa. That is magical.
And it says ICP for Insane Clown Posse. That's what it says. This was a gift. This was a gift to Goat versus Fish. And Goat versus Fish accepts your generous and benevolent offerings to Goat versus Fish. If you wish to make an offering to Goat versus Fish, follow Goat versus Fish on all social media at Goat versus Fish. Subscribe on YouTube and get notified to Goat versus Fish. Watch Goat versus Fish on Twitch. And if you wish to make a monetary contribution, you can always exclamation point tip to Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish is a profit for profit, they say. So by all verses, leave a contribution to Goat versus Fish. So Goat versus Fish made some new friends among the Juggalos. And we can see here. Ooh, look, it's Juggalo face paint Goat versus Fish. It's Juggalo face paint Goat versus Fish.
Wow.
Yes, Goat versus Fish. We take inspiration. Goat versus Fish takes inspiration from those around us. And Goat versus Fish also wishes to be a fine guest because Goat versus Fish does not like to go where Goat versus Fish is not welcome. And so when the Juggalos welcome Goat versus Fish will adopt the verses of the Juggalo out of respect for our guests. Yes, out of respect for our guests.
But why didn't you go in the ring and wrestle?
Goat versus Fish. Why didn't Goat versus Fish go in the ring and wrestle? Well, there was one who said, "Hey, Goat versus Fish, when are you getting in the ring? When are you getting in the ring?" But let us tell you something about that ring. It's surrounded by fence. Have you seen this? Have you seen what they call the ring? Look at all that fence. It's just completely surrounded by fence.
Wow.
It's fences all around. You expect goat versus fish to get in that versus when it's just fences all around us?
The true versus can only be attained by confronting all four corners of the fence.
All four corners of the fence? But the fence is so high and it's so fancy, and like when you get in and out you have to do this. When you get in and out. Oh, by the verses, standing there in the ring, in the fence, surrounded by the fence there, is indeed Violent J of ICP. Make some noise for Violent J. Now, Goat versus Fish does not endorse a violence. Goat versus Fish does not typically endorse violence here on Goat versus Fish, but we'll make an exception for Violent J. Celebration for Violent J. You get the endorsement of Goat versus Fish. Jella Lugosi, welcome to Goat versus Fish. Jella Lugosi, Goat versus Fish. We have Jella Lugosi in the chat here, and let us give a salutation. Let us give a salutation to Jella Lugosi for driving Goat versus Fish many hours all across First America. Celebration for Jella Lugosi! Celebration! Do you know any Pearl Jam? How does that check out, Jella Lugosi? Oh, you got to commit to the bit. You got to commit to it. Jella Lugosi. Oh, we know that one. Even versus is a butterfly, a goat, or fish. We don't know, so we ask of anyway. Goat or fish, goat or fish. Okay, we'll rehearse that verses. We'll rehearse that verses.
I'm sorry.
Jella Lugosi is looking through the paper, though doesn't know how to read. Well, that's okay.
Aww.
Well, we'll start with this. It says goat versus fish. It says goat versus fish. It says goat versus fish. So you expect goat versus fish. You really expect goat versus fish to conduct wrestling among those fences? Well, look, Goat and Fish, we did get some wrestlers from the JCW, from the Juggalo Championship Wrestling, to follow Goat versus Fish, and maybe we'll have them as guests here on Goat versus Fish. Maybe we'll have Jella Lugosi as a guest here on Goat versus Fish. T-Bear gave up reading a few years ago and never looked back. Well, maybe try looking back. There might be a word there. Let's get a little motivational. Let's finish our motivational here. So Goat versus Fish with Green Jellÿ went to the Juggalos and confronted once again our fear of the unknown. Would they accept Goat versus Fish? Would they reject Goat versus Fish? And many pool noodle beatings later, Goat versus Fish has found new friends among the Juggalos. And so Goat versus Fish says whoop whoop to you. Goat versus Fish says whoop whoop to you. There are old friends, we have old friend, it's true, and as we verses through life and suffer our strife, sometimes our old friends, we find them gone. Sometimes through a fault of theirs, sometimes through a fault of their own, and sometimes because they are simply taken by the great fence, which isn't really so great if you ask Goat versus Fish. And we may mourn the loss of the old friends when this happens, but do not despair. For as long as you are alive and living now in the verses of Goat versus Fish, you can get out there and make friends anew. You can make new friends with Goat versus Fish. Oh, it's hard. Yes, it is. That fence can be pointy. Yes, there are many fences in the way that separation us from one another. Many obstructions that would prevent Goat from versing Fish, from even making the humblest of conversations. But if you go out there and you leave your fear behind, or maybe you carry it with you, but you just don't let it tell you what to do. and you make communication, and you make the simplest communication. You say, hi. And you say, nice clown makeup. And they say, oh, I love your hat. And then you say, goat or fish. You may find that new friends are just around the corner. Let this be your motivation. Get out there and make a new friend this versus. Yes, it may not be as deep as some of your friendships as old, but it can be fun to splash around in the shallow verses of friendship with someone new, something new and fresh. A new and fresh friendship. Where could it go? What could be done? Maybe you can have some fun, or maybe you'll find out they're a jerk, but you know, that's just life. Summer sausage with 100 bits. Let's get one hit. Celebration summer sausage with 100 bits. Summer sausage. Summer sausage, the known fish. Summer sausage is a sausage fish, and let GoatVsFish tell you, we had a lot of sausage. We had a lot of sausage on the road. Sausage fish. Waffle House sausage, indeed. Extra Waffle House sausage. And that's 104 fish. That's 104 fish. So yes, we have a lot to get to. We have a lot to get to. This GoatVsFish morning motivational. But it's time for the opening verses. Are you goat or are you fish? It's time to count. Are you goat or are you fish? Post it now in the congregation. Post it now in the chat. Be you on YouTube, be you on Twitch. And let's start this verses. Oh, wait, one verses. GoatVsFish, apologization to you for not going live for the Monday morning motivational on this versus of the GoatVsFish morning motivational situation that's happening live on Twitch and YouTube and all of that. GoatVsFish had just done a couple of shows and was driving many, many millions of hours from Albuquerque, and there was a clown. And there was also someone with fences all over their faces. It was Titties the Clown, and it was Jellÿ Lugosi, and they were just fast. They were fast asleep. They were sleeping, and we have that long verses ahead of us. So out of respect for those around us, out of respect for GoatVsFish, we had a rest of GoatVsFish. We know you've come to depend on the GoatVsFish morning motivational, even though we've only been really doing it for 2 weeks. But GoatVsFish wishes to say, sorry!
Where was the sorry when I showed up yesterday?
Where was the sorry when you showed up yesterday?
Yeah, when I showed up yesterday and I was waiting outside like a fence sitter.
Oh, you were waiting outside?
Yeah, I was waiting outside for the, for you to show up.
Oh.
Yeah.
How long were you waiting there on the fence?
I was waiting for 2 hours.
For 2 hours?
Yeah.
Well, why didn't you call GoatVsFish?
Because I knocked on the door.
Oh.
Yeah.
And GoatVsFish was not there?
Yeah.
Well, GoatVsFish was talking to juggalos and stuff.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. In that
No, it's not IC, it's ICP, Insane Clown Posse. You have to do the whole verses. ICP, Insane Clown Posse.
Oh, ICP.
Yes. Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
Well, GoatVsFish, we're so sorry, GoatVsFish. We do not wish to be defensive. GoatVsFish, we're sorry that you had to wait 2 hours for GoatVsFish on account of poor communication. We're so sorry. We're so sorry you had to wait for GoatVsFish.
I was scared.
You were scared. What were you afraid of?
Fence sitters.
Fence sitters. Oh, do you think there's a lot of fence sitters in this neighborhood?
if they're not fence sitters, they're going to be fence sitters in this economy.
Oh, in this economy? Well, listen, you can be afraid of the fence sitters in this economy, but if Goat vs. Fish can survive 2 days of Juggalos, then you can survive 2 hours of standing outside the door of Goat vs. Fish Studios in Encino, California, Los Angeles. We think you can do it.
It's a dangerous neighborhood.
It's a dangerous versus. Well, we're going to change that by asking everyone if they are goat or fish and creating a beautiful, glorious congregation of goat and fish. What can Goat vs. Fish do to you, for you, at you, to make up for the totally real verses that you totally actually were outside for 2 hours waiting for Goat vs. Fish while we were driving from Albuquerque to here? That actually happened and isn't just something we're saying on the stream for fun.
We can do the apology song.
We can do the apology song?
Yeah.
Take it away, the apology song! How does it go again? How do I say I'm sorry? How do I say I didn't mean to hurt you? How do I say will you forgive me? How do I say, as the Juggalos say, you fenced up, you fenced up, you fenced up, you fenced up, oh Sonny, I fenced up when I left you out in the cold. Oh Sonny, I'm sorry! I'm sorry!
I'm sorry!
I'm sorry!
I'm sorry!
I'm sorry!
I'm sorry!
I left you out there with no goat or fish to hold. I'm sorry, Sonny, Sonny, the sunfish. Do you forgive me, Sonny? Do you forgive Goat vs. Fish?
I forgive you.
Do you forgive the goat? Do you forgive goat? Do you forgive goat specifically?
God has to write a formal apology on paper, signed by, notarized by a lawyer, after which I will accept apology.
Okay, how about fish?
Oh, fish can get away with anything, even murder. I mean, of crows, murder of crows. But, yeah.
And how about...
There is no forgiveness, only redemption for the fence troll.
Well, I was not apologizing to you anyway. I would never apologize to you. Oh, hey, look at this camera angle. It really captures my good side. You know, I was not involved in the Juggalo Championship Wrestling. I've got a great character. As you can see, I'm used to fighting. I've got tools and I've got props. And I saw you had one from the QC from Quebec. So why not one of the proper French troll to join you? I can run from the fence. Okay, I'll keep working out. I'll keep working on that bit, but I think I would make a great wrestler. As a matter, I'll prove it to you. I'll prove it to you right now. Here we go.
This is what I get for being a good employee. He's fencing on me. I just got distracted the other day. This is a nice jacket. No, don't do that to me. Unless I ask you to.
So that's a bit of what you might have seen at Juggalo Championship Wrestling, just as a hypothetical versus. We'll show you some clips, but now that we've gotten that lip of the fence sitter out of the way, it is time for our declarations. It's time for our morning declarations. Are you goat? Or are you fish? Are you goat or are you fish? Are you goat or are you fish? Let's see it in the verses. Let's see it in the verses. Are you goat or are you fish? And we're going to make it written. Celebration to TC Whetstone, who follows Goat versus Fish. You're new to the congregation. You're a perfect one to ask if you are goat or if you are fish. So TC Whetstone, are you goat or are you fish? It's time to post our goat and fish in the chat. We've got Toilet Punisher, who declares fish. What a beautiful verses, Toilet Punisher. We think we met a few of you. We think we might have been more than one of you over there in Albuquerque. Toilet Punisher, the fish. We've got a third fish in the verses. We're starting fish heavy. We've got T-Bear505, who says Team Blub. That's another one for fish. T-Bear505. That's 4 fish. That's 4 fish. We've got TC Whetstone, whose first chat says goat. Celebration for goat. Celebration for goat. Celebration for goat. We've got another goat in the verses. We've got another goat in the verses. And Summer Sausage with another 100 bits for fish. 1 hit. Celebration. That's 200 for fish. That's 200 for the fish. Appreciation, Summer Sausage, for your contribution to Goat versus Fish. We have Blood Rain 420 who says goat. We have Blood Rain 420 who says goat. That's another goat. That's another goat. Celebration for goat. Celebration for goat.
Celebration for goat.
We have Kari Pakaya 41 who says
Goat.
No. They say goat, goat, goat.
Goat. Goat. Goat. Goat. Goat.
No, they just say goat, goat, goat.
Goat.
Goat, goat, goat. There's three goat. It says goat, goat, goat. Yes, we wouldn't want to make a quotation of a goat or a fish and just put extra goats in their mouth when really they just had 3 goat. Jella Lugosi says goat. Celebration for goat.
Whoa. This is a goat-filled stream.
It's a goat-filled stream. Well, now it's filled with goat. We've got 4 goat and we've got 4 fish. Celebration. Celebration for goat. BBDH187 says fish. So that's 1 more fish. Celebration for fish. Celebration for fish. BBDH the fish. Yes, Kari Pakaya 41. That's a fine goat. That's a mighty fine goat. Dizzy B Busy says fish. Dizzy B Busy says fish and throws a unification up in the verses. Trip 323 says goat. Celebration for goat. Celebration for Trip. Nice to have you in the verses. Tell us about what you've been up to, goat and fish. Tell us if you're goat or fish, and tell us what have you been doing this verses. While Goat versus Fish was making conversation with Green Jellÿ and Juggalos, what were you doing? Were you versing goat? Were you versing fish? Ivysaur EG says fish. That's another fish. That's fish number 8. That's fish number 7. 7 fish in the verses. That's 7 fish in the verses. That's 7 fish in the verses. Goat versus fish. Gore Massacre, are you goat or are you fish? Pickleton U, are you goat or are you fish? What is Sangu? What is Sangu?
Sangu.
Pari Pakaya 41 says, Yo Sangu. Yo Sangu.
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 Is my penguin name.
Is your penguin name? What? What? A penguin?
Yeah.
This is the first Goat versus Fish is hearing of this. A penguin? Isn't that some kind of giraffe or elephant or something?
A penguin. If you are what you eat, a penguin is fish.
Ah, well, okay. Well, if a penguin is a fish, we can accept this. We'll continue this conversation later. This is a bit concerning to Goat versus Fish. Shizzy House says, do we smoke weed? That is up to you. It's not for Goat versus Fish to tell you what to do. The grass of the land and the weed of the sea are often enjoyed with Goat versus Fish. Consume responsibly and only if you're legally allowed to and stuff. Vind says fish. Celebration for fish Vind. Vind the fish is in the verses. Pickleton U is goat. Celebration for goat. We've got pickle goat. Speaking of pickles, Goat versus Fish. When Titties the Clown and Jella Lugosi went to Waffle House, we got extra pickles. We got a whole extra side of pickles. It was delicious verses. It was a salty one. Prue Lawrence says fish. Patistedor says fish. And Prue Lawrence also says goat. Spoonman says fish versus fish. Spoonman says fish. Oh, my verses. It's getting wild here on Goat versus Fish. Spoonman is the fish. Prue Lawrence, are you goat or are you fish? We have to make a decision. And Patistedor is fish. The mighty Patistedor back in the verses. So as we wait for Prue Lawrence to choose between goat and fish, Fantastic Plastics says celebration for fish. But Fantastic Plastics, you've been on the fence before, haven't you? Are you ready to commit to fish? Are you committing to fish, Fantastic Plastics? Are you committing to fish? Prue Lawrence chooses goat. Celebration for goat. Prue Lawrence chooses goat. Celebration for goat. Yes. Oh, yes. Summer sausage with another 100 bits for fish, with another 100 bits for fish. One more hit. Celebration for fish, celebration for fish. Speaking of all of this summer sausage, when Goat vs. Fish went to Waffle House, did you know they had a false versus at Waffle House? Whoa.
What is a false versus at Waffle House? And does it involve pickles?
The pickles were delicious for Goat vs. Fish. There didn't seem to be much conflict there. But what happened was that there was the country ham. Let's hear some country ham. And then we looked further in the verses to see what we wanted to order, be it goat or fish. And then we saw city ham. Let's hear some city ham. So there was Goat vs. Fish at Waffle House with a clown and a vampire, and Goat vs. Fish suddenly had to choose between country ham and city ham? Goat vs. Fish has been on tour with Green Jellÿ, and they keep trying to convince us that there's this versus between Three Little Pigs and the Big Bad Wolf, which already Goat vs. Fish is trying to tell them this is about three little fish and the mighty goat. So already there's fenciness. Then there's Juggalo Championship Wrestling, and there's fences all around. They're fighting within the fence. They're leaping on and off of the fence. And then Goat vs. Fish goes to Waffle House and waffles. We've heard of Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. And a waffle sort of looks like a fence. It's like a fence grate. It looks like a grate, which is basically a fence. And then, just when Goat vs. Fish thinks we're starting to comprehend pigs, and if they're goat or fish, they're like a goat. They're kind of like a fat, chubby, short goat, but then they also roll around in the mud like a mud skipper, so it's sort of like a wet fish in that verses. Just when we think we're beginning to comprehension pigs, then they tell us that not only is there country ham, but now there's city ham too. What is a Goat vs. Fish to do when they tell you that there's country ham and there's city ham both? Oh my verses. So Goat vs. Fish tried the city ham, and it was okay. It was okay. Fantastic Plastics says January is basically a month of Mondays. It's basically a month of Mondays. Oh, we have a versus about that. Garfield! January may be a month of Mondays, but if you learn not to eat any of your favorite fatty foods and
cut down on those carbs and really hit the gym. I used to loathe Mondays, but now I get up every Monday morning. I start my week off right. Well, Goat vs. Fish was asleep on the road. I was out there pumping iron and hitting the gym. I was getting those gains. It's Monday. I mean, it's Tuesday. I mean, it doesn't matter what day it is. It's 5 a.m. I'm out there getting those gains. What are you doing?
Garfield here on the Goat vs. Fish Morning Motivational. It's fine if you accomplished what you have, and it's nice that you've gotten your new fit and all that, but we don't want to put down the Goat and Fish. The Goat and Fish, they're doing their best. They're doing their best. But it's fence sitters like you that can turn a great accomplishment and make it something that you just want to make the other Goat and Fish feel worse about themselves just because you're looking so strong. Remember, Goat and Fish, every Goat and Fish is struggling with their own verses within. We want to encourage the Goat and Fish. We want to inspire the Goat and Fish, but just because, you see, the mighty power of Goat versus Fish. We would never use this to intimidate you or try to put you down or tell you that you're less than Goat versus Fish. Even though Goat versus Fish is the strongest versus. And how did Goat vs. Fish get so strong? How did Goat vs. Fish get so strong? Why, we got strong with our morning motivations. It's time for our morning motivations. It's time for our morning celebrations. Morning celebration time. Are we ready? Are we ready? Okay, Goat and Fish, it's time for the morning celebration. It's time for the morning celebration. Get your hands up, get your hands up. Get your hooves and fins shoulder width apart, pointed slightly outwards. 10 morning celebrations, 10 morning celebrations. We bend at the knee. Keep yourself well balanced, like a well balanced versus. Celebration with an exhalation. You breathe in, you breathe in, breathe in. You sit down only to get off the fence because we get off the fence this versus. And here we go for number 2. Celebration! 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 Yes, those juggalos, those juggalo wrestlers were really in shape. If Goat vs. Fish wants to compete, we have to get stronger. We have to get stronger still. Celebration! Celebration!
Celebration.
Celebration! Celebration! Two more verses, two more verses. Oh, bring it down, and out and around. Celebration!
Celebration.
Final verses. Celebration!
Celebration.
That's 10 morning celebrations. That's 10 glorious morning celebrations with Goat vs. Fish. Vibrator 3000, are you Goat or are you Fish? Fantastic Plastic says it's like when that voicemail from Gilbert Gottfried leaked with his real voice. I don't know about this whole Goat vs. Fish stick. When I was voicing a parrot on Aladdin, I had better lines than this guy. I think I'm gonna do another joke about a national tragedy way too early. Cause if you can't... Okay, Goat vs. Fish. Okay, Gilbert. Okay, Gilbert, listen, if we want to commune with you from the dead, then we'll call Ghost vs. Flesh or something. And we'll get you on the Goat vs. Fish telephone. That was pretty good, says T-Bear 505. Well, don't blame Goat vs. Fish. Blame Gilbert Gottfried. Fantastic Plastics, are you Goat or are you Fish? Are you Goat or are you Fish? We have Percules. Oh, Goat vs. Fish. We haven't been looking at the YouTube chat. Apologization, YouTube chat. Apologization. Let's see who's been on YouTube for Goat vs. Fish. We have 999 LSD OCD for Goat.
Hey.
We have Kabong Stories for Goat. Celebration for Goat. We have Rami goat for goat. That's 3 more goat. We have Canada Rami, another goat. They love doubling it up over there on YouTube. So we've got goat, we got 2 goat, we've got 3 goat. We got Karmic the goat for 4 goat. What about Psalm 11? Psalm 11, are you goat or are you fish? Canada Rami says William Charles Manspeaker owns a 1,000-foot tall clown. Goat versus Fish didn't see a 1,000-foot tall clown, but we did see a lot of juggalos. We saw the real clown. That reminds Goat versus Fish. Hey, Sonny the Sunfish, we're going to ask you a very critical verses. Now that you've chosen fish.
How critical are these verses?
We think you'll know. Are you down with the clown?
I am down with the clowns who are down.
Celebration! Sonny has a conditional verses. Sonny is down with the clowns as long as the clowns are down. It's the Goat vs. Fish morning motivational theme song. Let's rock out. Let's rock out. Celebration! We think we should develop this Goat vs. Fish morning motivational theme song, and then we could do a recording and release it as the Goat vs. Fish morning motivational theme song.
Ooh, and make true verses.
We can make true verses off of that.
Yeah.
And then when they don't have Goat vs. Fish morning motivational, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, when they're missing the morning motivation and they've watched all of the repeat VODs on the Goat vs. Fish YouTube and they just crave more, they crave ever more, then they could play this song. They could play this song. They could set it as their wake-up song, as their alarm. Yes, they could. But it's time. The Goat and Fish, they've been waiting for some Juggalo information. So it's time for Goat vs. Fish to do. It's time for the recap. It's time to go over whatever happened this weekend on Goat vs. Fish. As we minimize this versus. No, we're tired of hearing that all the marble races were rigged. Goat vs. Fish. We've heard it a million verses. Okay, Goat and Fish. Here we are on the Instagram of Goat vs. Fish, and would you look at that? Goat vs. Fish has 4,211 followers. We have new followers on Goat vs. Fish.
Celebration.
So let's go. Let's have a look at this, and let's Goat vs. Fish website volume reduction. Let's have a look at the story. Let's have a look at Whoop Whoop. At Whoop Whoop, our newest addition to the story of Goat vs. Fish. Follow Goat vs. Fish on Instagram at GoatVsFish. If you don't already follow Goat vs. Fish, it would be much appreciation. And so without further offense,
Whoop whoop.
it's time for the Juggalo recap. Juggalo Championship Wrestling. Chris Peterson Yeet says, is a Juggalo goat or is a Juggalo fish? Well, is it fish or a goat? Well, fenced if I know. Let's look at the evidence. So here we have to begin. Here we have a little advertisement for Goat vs. Fish. It's the Goat vs. Fish Insane Goat vs. Fish Circus. Of course, you can see the flyer there that says the Carnival of Chaos Tour featuring live pro wrestling, JCW Lunacy. Oh, go back a verses, please. Go back a verses. Stop. Go back a verses. There's Goat vs. Fish. Why can't we pause this verses? We should be able to pause this verses. There we go. Goat vs. Fish. We have Insane Goat vs. Fish Circus. So we take the flyer of the Carnival of Chaos. We take the flyer of the Carnival of Chaos, which includes Wacko the Kid, Green Jellÿ, Ouija Mac, Sammy Sosa, who, well, in any verses. Goat vs. Fish was there, and so we took the flyer and we made a flyer out of the flyer so that there could be more Goat vs. Fish. There we go. There's a verses. We made a flyer out of the flyer so it could be a Goat vs. Fish flyer, which we know that really it's Goat vs. Fish. Everyone's there really to see Goat vs. Fish. So if Goat vs. Fish isn't on the flyer with Green Jellÿ, then Goat vs. Fish will just put Goat vs. Fish in the verses, and it's fine. Let's continue. So here we have Kanaka 213702 says, saw Goat vs. Fish survive a power trip mosh pit during punk rock bowling. Definitely a highlight last year, it being so random. Yes, Goat vs. Fish went to punk rock bowling. Yes, you can find that video on YouTube of Goat vs. Fish in the mosh pit. Goat vs. Fish wanted to let the Juggalos know. Goat vs. Fish knows how to mosh. We can get in that mosh. We can mix it up if we wish. If we wish. Thank you for that lovely commentation, for that memory of Goat vs. Fish. But of course, once you get on the road in Verse America and you're driving around from Los Angeles into deeper places, you do come across, look at these loiterers. Have you ever seen so many loiterers just sitting on the fence around Sousa fencing?
They look very suspicious. I wonder what they're up to.
What could they be doing out there? What could they be doing? Oh, I don't even know if they're goat or if they're fish hanging out loitering around Sousa fencing. They must be up to no verses. They must be up to no verses at all. Very suspicious verses. Very, very suspicious. Not because of how they dress or any superficial or super goatal thing about them, but because they're just hanging around Sousa fencing. What kind of respectable goat or fish would just loiter around a fencing shop? Truly. There's nothing to be gained there for you. It's all just fenciness. Hollywood's Live says, is Goat vs. Fish going to make appearance at the gathering of the Juggalos? Well, the Juggalos did receive Goat vs. Fish very well. And if you want to fund Goat vs. Fish going to the gathering of the Juggalos, just type !tip and send us several $100, and that will help fund our trip to the gathering of the Juggalos. Find out how much a ticket is to the gathering of the Juggalos, and if you can raise that much funding for Goat vs. Fish and you can pay for the ticket of Goat vs. Fish, then perhaps we'll definitely go. Or maybe they'll book Green Jellÿ and we can go with them. We'll just have to find out. But Goat vs. Fish would love to go to the gathering of the Juggalos. But we'll show you why we'd love to go to the gathering of the Juggalos, because we're going to show you more about Goat vs. Fish here. And here we have Goat. Here we have Goat. Celebration for Goat. Traveling across Verse America, you will find these fine rusty goats, but they are behind a fence, and that is a sad versus. Someone please come and buy this goat, free this goat from behind the fence. Please, for the love of Goat vs. Fish. And here, even more goat in Verse America. Goat all around Verse America are being trapped by the fence, and Goat vs. Fish, we know that you just want to hear more about Juggalos, and not all of this political verses, but you will recall that the Juggalos were at one versus classified as a gang by the U.S. Federal Department of whatever defense they're going on about, and the Juggalos had to stand up and get off the fence and stand up for their verses to be Juggalos and to not be judged so harshly. But across Verse America, so it's always been a political versus, and there are more goats. More fine goats indeed, but behind the fence. Let's get some liberation for goat. And here we can see some fish. We can see fish statues also across Verse America. This fish, sure, it's got some age lines. It's seen a bit of crack, it looks like. It's hanging out by the fence. But at least we've got some fish scales, so we've got some statue goat, we've got some statue fish. This is the kind of thing you see across First America. And of course, welcome to the Family Diner on Route 66. Get your kicks on Route 66. We should do a versus about Route 66. Rutherford's Route 66, the goat and the fish and the fence sitter. We enjoyed many morning consumptions and delicious verses out there in Verse America, out on the road, on the ancient historic Route 66, whose infrastructure has scarcely been upgraded for many millions of millennium, but it's still there and they're still going on about it, so maybe you can still get some coin out of that one. Yeah, you keep doing that Route 66 thing. It's definitely that's a real slice of American goat versus fish right there. And here we have Sunday in Albuquerque. So this is now our Sunday promotion. Same verses, the Carnival of Chaos tour, the Unsane, something that Goat vs. Fish is just ripping off the Insane Clown Posse with the but it doesn't say insane, it says unsane.
That means you're neither insane or outsane.
What about Goat Sane and Fish Sane?
Those are different verses. That's in the Second Testament verses.
Unsane Goat vs. Fish Circus. Let's continue. So, at any Green Jellÿ show, you will find this, and this is sort of a fishy goat kind of thing, because these are pool noodles, which go in a pool, and as you know, fish can be in the pool. But we also know that goats can have pool noodles on their horns to prevent farm goats from harming each other. Wild goats, they like to mash horns all the time. But sometimes when they put goats surrounded by fences on the farm, they will put pool noodles on the horns of goat. They're using a fish technology in order to sort of make the goat less hostile, less powerful, really, to mute the mighty horn of goat. Those goat just want to be horny. And yet they're getting a cover. They're being sheathed.
I don't advocate horn suppression.
You don't advocate horn suppression, even as a fish. You're a fish.
Even fish suppression.
Well, of course, as a fish, you would not advocate for fish suppression, but here you are saying that you don't advocate for goat suppression either, even as a fish?
Suppression is just cruel, no matter if it's goat or fish. Fences, they can be suppressed.
The fences can be suppressed.
Yeah, disregard fences. Yeah, they can be suppressed.
Well, we don't need to suppress the fence sitters. We need to simply re-educate and guide the fence sitters so that they can choose goat or fish and become productive members of Goat vs. Fish Society. It's not oppression. It's a liberation. We're liberating the fence sitters from the fence. So here we have Goat vs. Fish. So these pool nudes, were strapped to the top of Bill Manspeaker, the head fence sitter of Green Jellÿ, strapped to the top of the car with horrible aerodynamic anti-wind resistance technology, anti-wind resistance technology. So they were just hemorrhaging mileage and just making their lives way more complicated than they have to be. But that's sort of the Green Jellÿ way. That's sort of how they do things. TMLZ rules currently on a 10-stream streak. Appreciation. And there it is. Have a look. So there's the Pope Mobile driving down the verses. Do you see this? Do you see the resistance? These pool noodles they've become a sort of a super fence that's atop the Pope Mobile there. The Green Jellÿ Pope Mobile, and it's just the verses are just bombarding the fence.
Doesn't that look like coral?
Coral,
like the Great Barrier Reef.
Oh,
what you find under the ocean.
It looks like a sort of a fish reef. It does kind of look like a fish reef. And of course, we want to. There's a difference, of course, goat and fish between, if we might say, if there is such a difference between fence sitters, between the sort of natural occurring fences and the unnatural fences made by horrible fenceology. But the Great Barrier Reef could be said to be a fence of sorts because it is a barrier. But really, it is a beautiful place where the fish can meet up with other fish and hang out. Those fish have really turned that barrier fence into a place that's really serviceable to the fish. And now it's totally being bleached and destroyed, and that makes Goat vs. Fish sad. Though we hear they're trying to use new fence-nology to replace the barrier reef with like a new fence that's made by the goats. Like the goat want to build the fence under the Sea of the Fish in order to build a new reef for the fish. So then the false reef becomes an actual reef, but the fence already destroyed the reef. How do they expect the fence to make the reef new again? Oh, my versus Goat versus Fish. We'll have to have some kind of scientist on to explain this to Goat versus Fish.
That's what the people over at the fence place were plotting, how to get the goat involved in rebuilding the reef.
At that previous fence place.
Yeah, the fence place.
So you think that they were plotting to rebuild the reef for the fish?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's not such a terrible versus.
It's a hostile takeover.
We see. It is an imperialist program.
Yes.
The goats are going to go in and say, nice reef you have there. It would be a shame if anything happened to it. Why don't you just let us build the reef for you? And then once the reef has been built by the goat, then the goat can claim the territory of the fish.
You see, they destroyed the Great Barrier Reef so they can have the goats rebuild it using fence technology.
So we see. Oh, my verses. Sunny with the insight. Meanwhile, the fish are causing global warming so that the sea level rises so that they can reclaim the land of goat. So here we have the Pool Noodle Express with ample wind resistance and drag so they can scarcely go the speed limit. Amazing verses. Now, when we are stopping on the road onto Juggalo Town, we're getting there, Goat and Fish, we're getting there. We find all sorts of little fence wisdom that we want to turn into Goat versus Fish, like this year. What if you got a candle that says, "Light me when you need some Zen Goat versus Fish"? Would you buy that? Would you buy this handsome product?
Only if it is Goat versus Fish approved.
Only if it's Goat versus Fish approved. Well, Goat versus Fish would approve this "Light me when you need some Zen Goat versus Fish." How
much are you getting paid to approve it?
What is this?
How much are you getting paid to approve it?
To approve this versus? Oh, Goat versus Fish. Well, as long as it says Goat versus Fish, freely Goat versus Fish. Just as a matter of versus, Goat versus Fish, they didn't even have to pay Goat versus Fish to leave this sticker right there in their store.
They didn't pay you $5.55?
To leave the sticker in the store? No, the benevolence of Goat versus Fish. Of course, Goat versus Fish would never be so rude as to peel off the sticker and just start placing it on products where they didn't welcome Goat versus Fish. But Goat versus Fish will delicately place a sticker that says Goat versus Fish.
Ooh, sneaky product placement.
Just around the store, so someone wandering about might look and see, oh, there's a sticker that says Goat versus Fish here. It's not even attached to anything. You can just pick it right up. These are the new sub-vertisement strategies of Goat versus Fish. We continue. It's the Goat versus Fish Pony Club. We've heard so much about have you heard about this Pink Pony Club?
Ooh.
Have you heard about the Pink Pony Club?
Ponies. Pony.
Yes.
Pony Club.
We've heard of the Pony Express. We've heard of Vermin Supreme and the Pony Express, but Vermin Supreme ended up being a huge fence sitter.
What is please, please, please for? What are they pleasing us for?
Well, we know that on the Uncle Joe show they say please! Please, please, please. Please, 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 more Goat versus Fish. And what is this? What is this yellow thing there? Is that the Goat versus Fish hotline? It looks like some sort of ancient... Goat versus Fish remembers. That's a cell phone. It's a cell phone there. And the Pony Club is Chappelle Roan Goat or Fish? Is a Pink Pony a Goat or Fish? Why do you need to go to the Pink Pony Club when you could be going to the Pink Goat Club or the Pink Fish Club? Goat versus Fish. You should remember this. Here we have the heart of Goat versus Fish. So here, yes, Goat versus Fish, we found there was no place to put the stickers, so Goat versus Fish does not stick the sticker to your heart. We just place Goat versus Fish before your heart, so you may do with it as you wish. Here is Goat versus Fish in the restroom. Here we saw someone who was very strong, and we thought that Wow, someone so strong, it really reminds me of Goat versus Fish, doesn't it?
Ooh.
Like a super versus. So we did add Goat versus Fish there. We did stick Goat versus Fish there. So the next time you're emptying your bowels, you can think how Goat versus Fish is providing a seat cover. Because have you ever been to relieve yourself, Sonny the Sunfish, and you're going to relieve yourself, and they just want you to sit directly on the fence, and it's like, who has sat on that fence before you?
That's why they have the Zen papers that you put on the fence.
Yes, to at least get a little separation from your posterior and the fence, so you don't have to sit directly on the fence. You can maintain the dignity of a goat or a fish.
You keep your yin-yang on the fence.
As you do your businessness. So, Goat versus Fish seat covers. We think this is a fine versus. Goat versus Fish seat covers to protect your bum from the fence as you go about your verses. Very nice. We promise you we're getting to the Juggalos. We're getting to the Juggalos. Here we have Quick Pick. Here we found lighters in the gas station, and we saw an Aries goat, and we saw a Pisces fish, and we saw a Capricorn goat fish, and it says Quick Pick. That's very Goat versus Fish. Celebration! Quick Pick, goat or fish?
Fish.
Celebration or fish? Which lighter would you pick? Quick pick, chat. Quick pick. Chris Peterson Yeet says is a Juggalo or a goat or a Juggalo fish. Well, this is what we're learning. What we can tell you is this, though. As we continue the verses, as we continue reviewing the verses, here we have, when we are in Juggalo land, we have Fey Goat. Make some noise for Fey Goat. Delicious orange Fey Goat. And we have Clownfish. We have Fey Goat versus Clownfish. And when we told the Juggalos that it was Fey Goat and Clownfish, how they delighted in Goat versus Fish. They said, "Oh, you're so clever, Goat versus Fish. Fey Goat, Clownfish." It's like we've known each other for a million verses. A little preparation of Goat versus Fish can really get the goat and fish on your side. Quick pick, Goat and Fish. Everybody water with a Goat versus Fish. Hydration. Now this is a very serious versus. Goat versus Fish went to Bass Pro Shop. Now, Bass Pro Shop is, we see hats for Bass Pro Shop. Sonny, have you been seeing Bass Pro Shop hats everywhere, these verses?
Yes.
Yes. And how does that make you feel as a fish?
As a fish, it makes me feel seen. I feel represented in hat form.
In hat form. Well, Goat versus Fish went to Bass Pro Shop, and lo and behold, we found a Bass Pro Shop hat with a goat on it. Behold, we have achieved goat-fish unification at Bass Pro Shop in hat form. It's secret Goat versus Fish. It says Bass on the hat, and yet it has a picture of the goat. Make some noise. Make some noise for the Bass Pro Shop goat hat. Celebration for goat and for fish. You thought Bass Pro Shop was all about fish, but now Goat versus Fish surprises you with a goat hat from Bass Pro Shop. Celebration! Celebration! Nice versus Goat versus Fish. It's the Bass Pro Shop goat hat of Goat versus Fish. And as a matter of verses, Goat versus Fish did pick up some. Here's Bass Pro Shop Club Goat vs. Fish is now a member of Bass Pro Shop. We have a card and everything. We earn 2% back on all of our Bass Pro Shop purchases. Goat vs. Fish is now a member of the Bass Pro Shops, and we got some hats. We got some Bass Pro Shop hats. And Goat vs. Fish thinks that we're going to do some Goat vs. Fish modifications to these hats, and then we're going to sell them back to you for 5 times the price that we paid for them. How does that sound? We'll add a little Goat versus it. Like we'll add a patch so it says Goat versus Bass Pro Shops, and then you can wear custom hats by Goat vs. Fish where we take Bass Pro Shop but it says Goat versus Bass Pro Shops. Or maybe we can make another hat that says, what would be the reverse of a Bass Pro Shop? What would be the Goat version of Bass Pro Shop, Sonny? Let's see what you have to say. How clever are you today? Bass Pro Shop, but it's for goat. What would it be?
Mountain Goat Amateur Bazaar.
Mountain Goat Amateur Bazaar! We like this versus. Because Goat vs. Fish is very bizarre. Goat vs. Fish is a bizarre versus.
The most bizarre amateur mountain goat.
So we could do, yes, Goat Amateur Bazaar. And we have a mountain goat on it. Goat Amateur Bazaar hats. And look at this versus. This versus is very Goat vs. Fish. Let's show you what we've got here.
I see amateur goat library. That's cool too.
Have a look at this. Shiny, sparkly Bass Pro Shop hat. To match the sparkle of Goat vs. Fish. Look at it shine. That feels very Goat vs. Fish. But let's get back to the verses. Here we have a fence sitter on the fence. It seems that Bird vs. Bear has been here. Bird vs. Bear is a false versus. Do not follow Bird vs. Bear on social media at Bird vs. Bear. Don't do it. So we have Denver Bikeway, Goat vs. Fish to Central BD. We put a lot of this transportations here in front of the whoop whoop. Maybe they want the Juggalos. So here we have more goat, celebration for goat. Here we have a bass from Bass Pro Shop, a Toyota bass, Yagi Tai Sakana. Here we have something we want to buy for the stream from Bass Pro Shop. Listen, we want to get to the Juggalos, but we had to stop at Bass Pro Shop. Don't you understand, Goat and Fish? We had to go to Bass Pro Shop. And look what we have. We have a rocking fish. Goat vs. Fish. We need this rocking fish in the studio of Goat vs. Fish. Please make a donation to Goat vs. Fish so we can buy this rocking fish and have it in the studio of Goat vs. Fish. This is a critical versus. We need to get the rocking fish. We need the rocking fish to be in the studio of Goat vs. Fish. But we didn't buy it just yet. So there's our Bass Pro Shop. Celebration for the fish. It's a temple of fish. And now, at long last, we have reached Juggalo. We have reached Juggalo Goat vs. Fish. Oh, yes. Have a look at that. Have a look at the glorious Juggalo Goat vs. Fish. Titties the Clown helped us with our Juggalo face paint. And Goat vs. Fish, we had a few ponderings. First, we thought, let's go, because there is no black or white, but there seems to be what some would call a binary nature to Goat vs. Fish, although there are verses about that. Is it really a binary versus when there's only goat and fish in the universe? But in any verses, Goat vs. Fish, we thought that perhaps we would divide right down the center of Goat vs. Fish. We do all goat on one side and all fish on the other. But then we thought, let's just Let's just totally do up all of Goat versus Fish, and then let's darken the eyebrows for Goat versus Fish, and then let's put a goat on one cheek and a fish on the other. We thought we might put a versus on the nose, but then imagine this, Goat and Fish. Goat versus Fish was looking in the reflection, and we spelled VS, and we had the goat on the goat side and the fish on the other, but when we spelled VS, it was in reverse. It was in reverse because we were looking at the reflection of Goat versus Fish. So we had to make it, so we ended up like this. Goat versus Fish. Reverse verses is a fine verses, but we didn't want to reverse the verses on the first verses of Goat versus Fish. So this is Juggalo Goat versus Fish, out of respect, out of tribute to the Juggalos. Now let's continue now. Let's get, you listened to a bit of Insane Clown Posse just when we were posting the promotion for this verses, yes?
Yeah, a little bit, like 1 minute.
Just 1 minute. Well, using the knowledge you have gained with 1 minute, let's get some dirty Juggalo sounding verses over here. Let's keep it a little dirty. As we continue to look at the Juggalos. So here we have a Juggagoat. Here we have a Juggagoat who has a venue of their own, who has some sort of conspiracy venue. And they said, Goat versus Fish, come back to Denver. We'll have you in our conspiracy venue. So here's our first evidence of a goat who's really just enjoying Juggalo Goat versus Fish. Our first Juggalo Goat, celebration for goat. And did you know that there's this thing in America called football, where they have all kinds of Patriots versus Eagles and Broncos versus whoever the fence they were playing. We think the Rams were versus the Bears, which is almost Goat versus Fish, because the Rams are clearly goat. But in any verses, they noticed that the colors of Denver Broncos, be they goat or fish, matched the colors on the shirt of Goat versus Fish, so that was an auspicious versus. So Goat versus Fish was in Denver when the Broncos, whatever they are, were playing. Well, the Seahawks are at least by the CT Bear 505. They at least have C in the verses, which means maybe we can get some fish out of the verses. But here we have a couple of Broncos fans, and one of them is Goat and one of them is Fish, and they're there to see Juggalo Championship Wrestling. Whoop whoop. Here we have Titties the Clown on the fence. Just giving the finger to Goat versus Fish. How dare you literally sitting on the fence in front of Goat versus Fish, a member of Green Jellÿ. Here now we have Goat versus Fish with more dramatic lighting. It's Juggalo Goat versus Fish, now with dramatic lighting. And here we have once again Goat versus Fish, Titties the Clown, Bill Manspeaker, the front fence of Green Jellÿ, and we have Chaos! Young Chaos. Here we all are all together, but these are all familiar faces to Goat vs. Fish. Everyone knows Goat vs. Fish is member number 0 of Green Jellÿ. Bill Manspeaker there, next to Titties the Clown, is member number 1 of Green Jellÿ. But Goat vs. Fish is member number 0, because in the beginning there was Goat vs. Fish. Silence! So it started a bit like this, and Goat versus Fish thought, well,
That's nice that he was trying to get him off the fence.
it's trying to help, you think?
Yeah.
Oh, we thought they were just fencing around up there, just making a mockery of the verses. Like, we'll just play on the fence for fun.
Yeah. And he showed him what happens if you play on the fence.
Oh, if you play on the fence, we're going to drag you off the fence.
Yeah. He was actually helping him out.
We see, yes. Get off that fence. And yet they cling to the fence. Like, no, don't take me off the fence. I want to be on the fence. Hey, King Cobra 198756. What's up? We're reviewing Goat versus Fish Goes to Juggalo Land. Are you goat or are you fish, King Cobra? Are you goat or are you fish? So that one was the neon ninja who Goat vs. Fish has now become friendly with. The Neon Ninja has become friendly with Goat vs. Fish. And the Neon Ninja said, hey, Goat vs. Fish, why don't you get in the ring? Why don't you do some verses? Maybe we will.
Why didn't you get in the ring?
Well, they didn't invite Goat vs. Fish. Goat vs. Fish wanted an invitation. But maybe that's what Goat vs. Fish needs to do. Maybe Goat vs. Fish. Oh, but they had a fence around. They had a fence around the verses. If you look here, you can see not only is there a fence around the ring, but then there's also a fence around the fence. There's a fence around the fence. You see this fence?
When was the last time a fence stopped Goat vs. Fish?
Last time a fence stopped Goat vs. Fish. Look, the fence can't stop Goat vs. Fish, but Goat vs. Fish has a versus. Goat vs. Fish does not like to go where Goat vs. Fish is not welcome. We hope they welcome Goat vs. Fish. Because if Goat vs. Fish starts becoming unwelcome, then how can we spread the verses of Goat vs. Fish if Goat vs. Fish is not welcome?
But didn't that guy invite you on the other side of the fence?
Well, that was late. That was at a later versus.
Ah.
So why don't you just save that criticism of Goat vs. Fish for slightly later, so we can come up with some better explanation for later, because the invitation hadn't happened yet. So as you can see, there's fences upon fences, and you can see back there it's JCW, Juggalo Clown Wrestling, JCW Lunacy. JCW Lunacy, that's the name of the verses now. That's the name of the verses now. But let's get back into looking. Let's get back into peeping. What's going on here? There must be an easier way to do this verses, but Goat vs. Fish. Goat vs. Fish doesn't mind. So here we are. Goat vs. Fish wanted to get a goat's eye view, not a bird's eye view, because a bird is a fence creature, but a goat who climbs high. So here we're getting the goat's eye view of Juggalo Championship Wrestling. And let's have a look at that.
Next week, I face James Tiberius Storm for the JCW Heavyweight Championship.
Talha is goat. Oh, my verses! Fence Hitter got very excited about that one.
Of course he's excited. That's 4 fences.
There's 4 fences?
Yeah.
So here, Goat versus Fish. Yeah, so we got to know some of these wrestlers, and yes, they started. Oh, yes, many of them have great and mighty followings. Yes, they have great and mighty followings. Some even would even claim to have larger followings than Goat versus Fish, if you can believe that. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Oh, you can. You believe it so easily.
Oh yeah. Because they promote the fence, and on occasion, once they choose a side, the following drops a little bit. That's why there's always views in conflict.
Ah, yes, it is true. The social media does promote the fences, which is why you need to follow Goat versus Fish. But look, they just love playing with the fence. These Juggalo Championship wrestlers just love playing with the fence. Let's zoom in on their previous verses, though. So here you can see this one that you see before you, just above the fish. A very animalistic creature was sort of running around the verses like very, very animalistic, but sort of not quite. It seemed very confused, though, because it seemed to be a follower of the false verses of bird versus bear, because it was bearing around, and we think that instead of coming into the verses wearing a bear skin, they could come in wearing a goat skin and embody the goat, and then maybe they would win more often.
Or even fish skin.
Or they could be fish. You see, they failed to seal the deal. They were quite popular. They were quite popular, and they moved about, and it was like, crazy, ferocious. But at the end of the verses, always fell, always fell, always fell. So we think they need to commit to goat or fish. This whole bear thing is not working out. You've got to give it up. Give up the bear thing and choose goat or fish, please. And then we looked at this verses. We looked at this verses once more, once more. Once more. Once more. Look at them on the fence. That referee now follows goat versus fish.
Hey, celebration.
So what is this? Why do you think that? Is it that they are incapable? Are they simply incapable of winning the match without using the fence? Is that what's going on here? Or maybe it's just that wrestling is just a winner take all rough type verses where anything can go. Goat and fish will even use the fence without shame.
Because the fence can be used against your opponent.
The fence can be used against your opponent. You see, this is where wrestling still seems. What if they use the fence against goat versus fish? Well, goat versus fish, we would never be defeated by a humble fence like that, though. No fence could stop goat versus fish. Besides that fence, it's not even a hard pointily fence. It's like a bouncy fence. It's like a bouncy fence. What kind of fence is this? And the posts go sideways? This is a totally weak and ineffectual fence. It's a bouncy fence. As soon as you get on the fence, we saw they would bounce right off of it again.
That's how they use the goat against the fish.
Refensulous. So here we have goat versus fish. We're knighting the fish, they say. Look how they enjoy goat versus fish. Look how they play with goat versus fish. Now you can scarcely hear goat versus fish there, and here we have the wizard goat. Here we have the wizard goat who played with Green Jellÿ, and we asked the wizard goat, goat, what is the magic of goat? What is the magic of goat? And they said the magic of goat is to go at the fish. The magic of goat is to go at the fish. We've heard this about wizards, that they're fond of spells. So they say that the magic of goat is to go at. We think that was a clever verses. Goat, you can go at fish. You can go at fish. There's a lot of energy in goat. There's energy and there's direction in goat. Go at. Goat, you can go at the fish. You can go at your dreams. You can go at your goals, which also goals almost, you can almost spell goal by spelling goat. So goats, go at, and keep going at until you get there, and then beyond. This is the magic of go at. And maybe enjoy some pizza by the slice while you're at it. Celebration, celebration. The next verses. Here we have another fine fan of goat versus fish. Oh, goat versus fish. Go back verses. And as you can see, look at this big smile. Doesn't that look like a genuine smile of enjoying goat versus fish? Have you ever seen a more sincere smile?
These smiles can only happen outside the fence.
Yes. You can't be on the fence and have this smile. No, you have to have chosen goat or fish. You have to have chosen goat or fish. And we think that if you'll permit us to zoom in, we know they had something written on the fishnets. Ah, there it is. You can just scarcely read it. It says, so what? So what? So you stare into the breast of this fish or goat wearing fishnets, So what? They say to you, so what? They're not impressed. Now, as you can see, they have little horns. They have little horns here. So we thought that they were goats, but surprise, they're actually fish. They chose fish. It's a fish with horns. And this was one of the first fish of the verses because we met this fish outside of the venue as Goat vs. Fish asked those who were in line if they were goat or if they were fish. But if you're a goat, and this one is a fish, you can say, so what? So they met Goat vs. Fish outside the venue, and then they came back to speak to Goat vs. Fish when we were in the venue, and they said, wow, Goat vs. Fish, you're really so great. Can we have a picture with you? We said, yes. Yes, you can. You can do that. Goat vs. Fish is here for you to have pictures with Goat vs. Fish. Okay, we're getting into some more wrestling. Next verses.
So are you two going to fight?
And this occurred to Goat vs. Fish. We're watching all of this Juggalo Championship Wrestling. We're looking at all of this fence abuse, all of this fence use. And we're looking up at Goat and Fish, being like, hey, Goat and Fish, when are you going to versus?
When were you doing the verses?
Exactly. We asked the Goat and Fish, when are you going to versus? When are you going to versus?
I'm going to versus.
When are you going to versus?
Maybe now.
Maybe now?
If not, later now.
If not later now, maybe. You say Goat vs. Fish. You say Goat vs. Fish. When are you going to versus? Well, maybe you should stop accusing Goat vs. Fish of not versing because here comes the goat. Here comes Goat to versus the fish. It's a tag team operation. No. Well, you're just avoiding the goat. You call that a versus? You're just avoiding the goat? You're not going to take on Goat?
It was a dodge move like those wrestlers did.
Oh, so you're just going to dodge Goat. You're just going to avoid the whole confrontation.
If I dodge Goat,
You call that a versus? Eventually you're going to have to stand up to Goat. You know that, don't you, Fish?
I need to learn how my martial arts, my anti-goat martial arts.
Okay. Well, you keep practicing because those goat they're not going to stop. They're going to keep coming for you.
Whoa.
They're going to keep coming.
Then I'll see them soon.
So this versus, we did a little bit of editing. We did a little bit of editing, and so Goat vs. Fish, we did a little editing, and then we got this. How's that? How's that for a little editing of Goat vs. Fish? So Goat vs. Fish called this video
So are you two going to fight?
Wrestling Clown Gets One-Way Ticket. Oh!
Whoa!
So that's some JCW, Goat and Fish. That's some JCW. They're bringing out they're smacking each other with fences. Goat vs. Fish posts a link to this YouTube short here on Goat vs. Fish. Let's watch that one more versus.
So are you two going to fight?
It's like you're watching the televerses. Oh! These clowns, they were the champions. We don't know We don't know so much anymore. We don't know so much anymore if they maintain their championshipness after the smackdown like that. Goat versus Fish continues here. Here we have a young friendly goat and fish, a young couple of goat and fish. Here they are, smiling at Goat versus Fish. Yes, more genuine, sincere enjoyment. And you can see in the crown of Goat versus Fish, these goat and fish, they formed a unification. They had a unity of goat fish.
Ah, yes.
Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop for the unification.
Celebration, whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop for the unification of goat and fish. Yes, how they enjoyed Goat versus Fish. And the verses continue, and the verses continue. So Goat versus Fish, yes, we were wearing the face makeup, but many of these juggalos did not. This one was very friendly to Goat versus Fish, wearing the big JCW. And you can just start to see Goat and Fish. They're just starting under the JCW. They're just starting to wrestle. They're starting to get into it. Goat and Fish are learning the rules. They're starting to get into the verses. Here we have Senor Tomat of Deep Fat Fried, the glorious socks that Goat versus Fish wore at the Green Jellÿ show at JCW. So Goat and Fish, we had a Deep Fat Fried Goat versus Fish Green Jellÿ ICP Juggalo Championship Wrestling 10-way collaboration. It was pretty great. It's pretty great. The verses continue. Now here you can't hear anything, but look at Goat versus Fish. That's Goat versus Fish on stage with Green Jellÿ. Look at that powerful verses. Look at that powerful verses. This is the intensity of the Green Jellÿ show with Goat versus Fish. We seem to be yelling into the goat like it's a microphone. Look at this party, and you can see Hammy Hagar there in the back. This is Goat versus Fish in our element. If you're wondering what that kind of sounds like, it might actually sound a bit like this.
Goat or fish! 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 Goat or fish!
So you can just imagine that verses while you're looking at this. And then we were invited backstage. Goat versus Fish was backstage the whole verses, except when Goat versus Fish was on stage. But we went into the tech closet, and there, next to some Tylenol, was a screepy bonefish. So there's Goat and Fish. There's Goat and Fish everywhere. Make some noise for a screepy bonefish. Here in the back at the hotel, towels only. What is a towel? What is a towel, Sonny? Is a towel a goat or a fish? Everyone talks to Goat versus Fish about towels. What is the meaning of this verses? Why do they speak about towels to Goat versus Fish so much?
What does a towel take in?
What does a towel take in?
Yeah.
Well, it's either goat or fish, we think. We hear maybe we hear towels absorb the sea of the fish? They absorb the sea of the fish, yes?
Or the drinking water of the goat.
Or the drinking water of goat. So they're just sucking up the sea. But they can also remove dirt. Like if you're a dirty goat, they could do this too, right? So
even dirty fish. You can use a towel on a dirty fish.
Oh, you can also use a towel on a dirty fish. So we thought that this was an invitation for Goat versus Fish to enter. So Goat versus Fish, we tried to go inside of the towels only disposable trash can, but the entrance wasn't actually big enough for Goat versus Fish. Vin says a towel is a fish. So yes, fences all around, no alcohol beyond this point. Goat versus Fish, we saw this. Goat versus Fish, on this side of the fence, it said no alcohol beyond this point. And then on the other side of the fence, it also said no alcohol behind this point. So we guess if you're near this fence, you just can't have alcohol anywhere at all in the universe, because if you're beyond the fence in either direction. Maybe that means you can only have alcohol if you're literally sitting on the fence.
How much alcohol can you have on the fence?
Well, as long as you don't go beyond this point in either direction, as long as you don't go beyond this point to Goat or Fish territory, this fence is saying you can just sit on the fence forever and just drink alcohol, it seems. Goat versus Fish does not recommend that. Not a safe versus. Here we have the pin of Goat vs. Fish. Here's Jella Lugosi wearing the pin of Goat vs. Fish and the piece of Goat vs. Fish. Here's Goat vs. Fish putting up stickers in the middle of the frozen wastes of Colorado. What is Acre? Is Acre a goat or a fish? Is it a gang of some kind? Is it an artist out there having some fun? But now, will anyone ever see this sticker of Goat vs. Fish out in the middle of Fenceware, Colorado? Goat vs. Fish does not know. But you know that it's Goat vs. Fish out there. And here, look who's back. Look who's back. Ask me if I care. Ask me if I care. And it's about Goat vs. Fish.
Oh, that's the old me. That's the old me before I got in shape. Back then, I wasn't smiling like I am now. If you asked me if I cared back then, I would say I don't care. But you know what? Now I care. I care about getting my macros, and I care about getting my creatine. I care about bulking up, and I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready for the next meet.
You've changed. You've changed, Garfield. Garfield! You've changed! Here we encountered along the road, someone welcomed us into their house. Just random roadhouse. We thought it was some kind of party shop, but turned out to be owned by someone who was randomly a fan of Green Jellÿ and had all kinds of crazy verses in their house, and there was this giant fish. It's a giant sleeping bag type fish. And so we had to take a picture of this giant fish. And here
are my favorite kids to go home.
There you go. But yeah, so
that looks familiar to Goat vs. Fish. Have a look at this. Does that not look familiar? It's giant! It's a giant sandal of Goat vs. Fish! A giant rainbow brand sandal of Goat vs. Fish. We hear that you need to sell 10,000 versus American dollars worth of sandals in order to acquire this giant rainbow sandal. Weed pipe is fish. Celebration for fish. So help us on the Goat vs. Fish live stream to sell 10,000 versus American dollars worth of rainbow sandals. Maybe they'll give us a giant sandal if we buy 10,000 versus American dollars worth of sandals. No parking anytime. On the goat side or on the fish side. Here we are now in Albuquerque. We're in Albuquerque now. Here's Little Creepy. Here's Little Creepy, who celebrates goat and is little and also creepy. And here we have added now to our Juggalo face makeup the question. The question between the eyes of Goat vs. Fish. You see that little question there? What do you say, Sonny? Do you like the Juggalo face makeup of Goat vs. Fish with the question or without the question?
The question mark seems like offense.
It seems like offense?
Yes.
But we're always asking, are you goat or a fish? And many have so many questions about Goat vs. Fish.
What happens while you ask the question?
Well, sometimes, yes, they are on the fence. But that is the gift of the question, so that they can get off the fence. And this question also represents the curiosity of Goat vs. Fish. That's why we ask all of you, are you goat or are you fish? We're curious. We're curious to know. It is the curiosity of Goat vs. Fish that brings us around all the fish and goat. So we thought that while they are looking at Goat vs. Fish and they are feeling like they have questions about Goat vs. Fish, that we would reflect the question back unto them. The confusion! So Little Creepy, they were a little creepy. We're not going to deny. We're not going to deny that Little Creepy was a little creepy. But they did choose goat and we celebrate the goat. Another couple of fine juggalos, another couple of fine juggalos. One being goat, one being fish, enjoying the celebration, enjoying the celebration. Smiling faces all around from Goat versus Fish. Here we have cross-brand promotion, Airheads. That airhead, it's that fence sitter whose head is filled with air. We need to fill it with goat and fish. But it's the Airheads World Tour, and there's goat and fish trying to fill the head of the fence sitter with goat and fish wisdom. Will they succeed? It's hard to say. Here we have White Loaf. White Loaf was another performer on the show, and White Loaf sang some songs and did some hippity hoppity rippity rappeting, some Juggalo style hippity hop rap verses. And White Loaf chose goat, and even though there's no black or white, there's only goat and fish. But White Loaf, maybe White Loaf will do a collaboration with Goat versus Fish. They definitely seem to be enjoying goat. Here we have some young goat and fish, They laughed with Goat versus Fish. They enjoyed the stickers of Goat versus Fish. They said, "Can we have a picture with Goat versus Fish?" And Goat versus Fish said, "Of course you can have a picture with Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish is for all goat and fish. Goat versus Fish is for all goat and fish." And with their permission, Goat versus Fish posted this verses, and they followed Goat versus Fish, and it was a celebration. More smiling faces of satisfied goat and fish, thanks to the entertainment of Goat versus Fish.
Make some noise for the goat.
So this one is a metal singer, a local Albuquerque metal screamer. And it looks like their name though, it looks like, it's just beneath but this verse is about this account, Goat versus Fish. No, that's about the account of Goat versus Fish. It looks like Thorn Black Cinder. Thorn Black Cinder, we think. And they were Goat versus Fish. We're just going to check that verses. We want to give them a proper shout out of Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish, Thorn Black Cinder. That profile isn't available. Wow. It's almost like that wasn't quite the right verses. Goat versus Fish. Do you want to? Oh, Goat versus Fish. Well, we'll just Goat versus. We're going to check. We're going to find the verses now. Time to find the true verses. Goat versus Fish. Going into our own profile now. Speeding through the verses. Thorn _ Black Cinder. Goat versus Fish. Thorn _ Black Cinder. And here they are. Oh, they don't follow Goat versus Fish. But they still made a lovely goat sound. They still made a lovely sound of goat. Let's hear that one more verses.
Make some noise for the goat.
And the fish comes to versus the goat. Now here we see something very sad to Goat versus Fish. It says goat versus squirrel. Squirrel, that's a false versus. The Squirrel's Nature Sideshow, which took a sticker of Goat versus Fish, and they put squirrel over Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish would never take a sticker of Goat versus Fish and put it over some other verses. We would never do such a thing. Have you ever seen Goat versus Fish take a sticker of Goat versus Fish and putting on something else and make it Goat versus Fish? Have you ever seen this?
Never unless you asked for permission.
Never unless we asked for permission. Goat versus Fish. But even if Goat versus Fish did put a sticker of Goat versus Fish over your verses, it would only be because it was already Goat versus Fish, and we were trying to bring you back to the Goat versus Fish that you didn't know that you had left behind. So Goat versus Squirrel. Oh no, not Goat versus Squirrel. Goat versus Fish. How dare they? How dare they? So Goat versus Fish put a sticker of Goat versus Fish under this verses, and maybe they'll find it 20 years from now and go, Goat versus Fish, you had me. The whole verse was still Goat versus Fish. I couldn't stop you. So here is one of the wrestlers, One Facade. Make some noise for One Facade. Here we have One Facade, which is one of our JCW Juggalo wrestlers. And here they are, One Facade, the Neon Ninja, with JCW Lunacy. Clownvis likes the verses. We've got Violent J. And we've got Justin Dillon, the Wrestling Classic. Celebration. And this is the one that said, hey, Goat versus Fish, why don't you get in the ring, Goat versus Fish? Maybe they'll train us. Maybe One Facade will train Goat versus Fish in the art of wrestling, and then we'll get in there, and then we'll get in the verses. We think that would be great. So what? Now Goat versus Fish, what? We can't go back? We can't go back in the verses? Here we are. Oh, we have to go through. Oh, Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish. Speeding through the verses of Goat versus Fish. And here we have, back to the verses. We'll have to remember that for next time. Here we also have the Amazing Maria. The Amazing Maria was another fantastic wrestler at the JCW, and Amazing Maria chose Fish. Celebration for Fish. The Amazing Fish. This Fish had a lot of experience, and we sort of saw this Fish in the back of the verses managing the other wrestlers. But then when it came time to shine, this fish wouldn't fence around. This Fish knew how to verses and is offering little kisses for Fish. Very strong verses, very experienced verses. The Amazing Maria, very amazing to Goat versus Fish. A totally amazing Juggalo wrestler. And here we have these two were very friendly to Goat versus Fish from Choppa City. Make some noise for Choppa City. They were fun, they were funny. We've got wrestler Atiban, we've got Bruce Wayans. You can see them in the story of Goat versus Fish here, and they made quick friends with Goat versus Fish, and they would do this. They would go chop, 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 chop. Now in the two scenes, in the two matches that we saw Choppa City in, they totally got their fences handed to them, and they sort of left in disgrace and shame. But they never got their spirits down. No matter the defeats that they suffered, they would always continue chopping, and they would continue their celebration. And we suspect great things. From Choppa City. And maybe we'll have them on the stream of Goat versus Fish, some verses. Lots of fun. Celebration for Choppa City. You have the support of Goat versus Fish. And if you ask Goat versus Fish, you had every verses to just intrude upon that other match and just totally dominate them when they were already tired. You have Goat versus Fish's full blessing and permission. Now here we have Clowns on the Fence. Clowns on the fence. How are we supposed to respect wrestling as an art form when the clown is just jumping on the fence? Now, again, you say, Goat versus Fish, why didn't you get into the verses? Here's another fence. They built another fence around the fence. You see this fence?
That's a fence you can't sit on.
Well, you say you can't, but they would climb that fence. They would just to sit on top of it. And this clown... teasing Goat versus Fish, bouncing on the fence, leaping on the fence, playing with the fence, and
Number two,
I think it's challenging
one of the
you.
wrestlers didn't wash their gear. Could mean that.
And here we have a couple of refs. So let's hear it for the refs. The ref uniform is very fancy and offensive. What is it? Is it black or is it white? It's all striped. It looks like a fence. It's like the bars of a fence. It's like the bars of a prison. Here we have two refs divided by a fence post. They're wearing the uniform of the fence. Goat and Fish, they're wearing the uniform of the fence, and the referees, they just like to sit on the fence. They don't want to get involved in the match. But they do want to judge the match. And what is all this judgment for Goat and Fish? What is all this judgment for the Goat and Fish when they won't even get in the verses themselves? So goat versus fish, we take issue with these refs. Let the goat and fish versus. Don't impose all of your fantastical rules on the goat and fish and stop them from versing. These refs don't even know how to count to 3. We saw them try several times and just fail miserably. So refs, get with the verses. Choose goat or fish and change those uniforms. So fancy. Here we have the sweet vengeance of goat versus fish. We have changed squirrel back to goat versus fish. Thank you, goat versus fish. You've done it. Vengeance is had. Here we have Chaos Chris of Green Jellÿ. Celebration. Always thanking goat versus fish. Thank you for being here, goat versus fish, they would say. We're so glad you're here. Here we have John Ray. Welcome to Goat vs. Fish. Here we have Nuxmus, who was very fond of Goat vs. Fish and wanted us to sign their hat and everything. But guess what happened after the verses? Nuxmus started getting pretty aggressive in the pit, and then after the show, they started throwing hooves at someone, and the fence had to be broken up.
Whoa! So what happened to him?
What happened? Oh, we don't know. We think there was just a bit of aggression going on there. But it wouldn't really be a Juggalo show if someone wasn't throwing fins in the lot, would it be? So thanks, Nuxmus. Thanks for making it a real Juggalo experience. But what we can say is that the congregation, the family of Juggalos, quickly all came together, and without an additional scrap of violence, simply said, "Hey, Nuxmus, why don't you settle down? Let's make sure no one gets hurt, and let's protect our own whooping family, even from one another when things get too fancy." So, even though we did see a scrap of violence break out, we did see the Juggalos coming together in defense, and it seems that everyone was okay. Now, this is a great versus whenever Goat vs. Fish gives someone a sticker and they immediately put it on the back of their phone. John Ray, are you Goat or Fish? When they immediately put it on the back of their phone so everyone who they're showing it to can see that it's Goat vs. Fish, we knew we earned a fan there in Pimp Prodigy. Pimp Prodigy put Goat vs. Fish on the back of their phone. Appreciation. That was a group of maybe 5 or 7 or 8 goats. They all chose goat. Actually, the Juggalos were majority fish, we can say. Celebrate some more fish. But this gang of goat in the pit, they were not going to take the verses silently. This gang of goat started chanting goat, and then you may say, "Oh, but Goat versus Fish." What about this one? What about this one on the left who was down looking at their phone and then had to be encouraged to get in the verses? But there they are. Let 3345 raids Goat versus Fish with 31 glorious viewers. 31 glorious viewers raid Goat versus Fish! Celebration, the 3345. We're looking at Juggalo wrestling on Goat versus Fish.
No.
We're looking at Juggalo wrestling on Goat versus Fish. We're looking at Juggalo wrestling on Goat vs. Fish. Oh, my versus! Oh! Oh! Whoop, whoop! Oh, Goat vs. Fish! Oh, the goat and fish! Manatee, but it's not a manatee, and it's not a human either, so why do they say the humanity in any verses? They should say the goat and fishness of it all. We're looking here at Goat vs. Fish goes and attends the ICP Juggalo show, Let 3345. Are you goat or are you fish? Burned Fish is in the verses for fish. Peter Sakosh, goat or fish, which do you choose? Appreciation to the Let 3345 Raiders who are here with Goat versus Fish. They like listening to music. Give the Raiders a quick shred. Raiders, welcome to the Goat vs. Fish Morning Motivational. You've caught us at the great verses. We are just reviewing our Juggalo wrestling. We're just enjoying Goat vs. Fish goes and meets the Juggalos, the crossover you never thought you didn't need. Celebration for Vin for Fish, Le 3345. How was your stream? How was your chèvre contre-poisson? A shout out for Le 3345. You have brought many Goat and Fish into the Goat vs. Fish Morning Motivational, and with great appreciation, thank you for bringing your Goat and Fish by Goat vs. Fish. It means a lot to Goat vs. Fish. Continuing now. Back to the Goat chant. Goat, 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 goat. So after Goat vs. Fish performed with Green Jellÿ, Goat versus Fish. All of these ones here, they all started chanting, Goat versus Fish, Goat versus Fish, Goat versus Fish, Goat versus Fish, Goat versus Fish. And the whole crowd, there were hundreds, and at least some of them were chanting Goat versus Fish. So we got a great shout out. Goat versus Fish got a great shout out, and it's all because before the show, Goat vs. Fish went out and had conversations and genuine interactions with all of these Goat and Fish. And it was with this group that Goat vs. Fish achieved something very, very special, which was, and here's a fish. Here's a fish smoking a vape. And here we have Violent J and Shaggy ICP. We thought that maybe Shaggy was the goat because Shaggy was furry and furry like a goat fur, but this Juggalo thought that it was Violent J who was the goat and that it was Shaggy who was the fish, but we don't know. We tried to ask Violent J if Violent J was goat or fish, but Violent J was always surrounded by other goat and fish, sort of for their protection, and clearly did not want to be bothered by Goat vs. Fish. But if Goat vs. Fish keeps coming to Juggalo Championship Wrestling at a future versus, we may be able to find out truly if Violent J is goat or if Violent J is fish. But in order to get up to that Supreme versus, Goat vs. Fish first infiltrates the Juggalos, first asks the Juggalo Championship wrestlers that they are Goat or Fish. We are in the trust of the Goat and Fish. And before you know it, all the Juggalos have chosen Goat or Fish, and the Juggalos are part of Goat vs. Fish celebration. Celebration for the infiltration of Goat vs. Fish. But as Goat vs. Fish infiltrations you are also infiltrating Goat vs. Fish, you Juggalos. You're becoming part of Goat vs. Fish. You are truly becoming part of Goat vs. Fish. So here we have 4,200 achieved, 4,200 followers achieved on Goat vs. Fish. Celebration. Celebration. It's a high versus. It's a very high versus.
High verse?
Did you say that you used to consume the grass of the land and practice your scales for 12 hours at a time? Is that what you told us?
I consumed life itself.
You consumed life itself.
And attained average mastery.
Average mastery celebration. Well, in celebration of all of that time that you spent practicing your fish scales to achieve average mastery, we wish you to go back to those days when you were consuming the grass of the land and the weed of the sea, hypothetically, ostensibly, allegedly. And let's revisit. Let's look at one of those scales that you used to practice. Let's revisitation in the celebration of 4,200 followers of Goat vs. Fish. Let's show some of those scales. This goes out to all the 4,200 followers of Instagram of Goat vs. Fish. Appreciation, appreciation! Next stop, 5,000. Next stop, 6,000. Next stop, 6,666. And then 10,000 Goat and Fish. 10K for Goat vs. Fish. So appreciation for 4,200 followers of Goat vs. Fish. Here we have Stand Against Hate and Get Off the Fence. Yes, Goat vs. Fish. We don't like those. We don't like those fence sitters who dress up with those pointy hats, so they're walking around like, I'm a fence post. I've got a pointy hat. I've got a pointy hat, and I think the biggest versus is between black and white. Goat vs. Fish doesn't appreciation that. But here they are getting stomped on in front of a fence. And though we don't know if that angry creature is a goat or fish, we support them. We support them, encouraging these hateful fence creatures to choose goat or fish with just some light encouragement, appreciation. Here we have the announcer. Here we have one of the announcers of JCW, who at first was a little suspicious about Goat vs. Fish, but once they saw that we were a serious versus, they were there and glad to take a picture with Goat vs. Fish, and you can see that their jacket is a lot like this Bass Pro Shop hat of Goat vs. Fish, and Goat vs. Fish thinks that we need a jacket like this. They were the MC. They were one of the masters of celebration here at Juggalo Championship Wrestling, and we salutation your efforts, and you inspire Goat vs. Fish. Here we have the real Danny Mo who follows Goat vs. Fish. We saw them wrestling in an earlier clip. The real Danny Mo not only does JCW, but like many of these wrestlers, we see them all around the universe, doing Goat vs. Fish things. So let's go the real Danny Mo. Oh, my verses. Just real Danny Mo. Here they are. Maybe we'll have them as a guest. 22,600 followers. And following, and one of the ones they're following is Goat vs. Fish. So if you want to leave them a message and say thank you for choosing Goat, you can leave a message on their verses and say thank you for choosing Goat. Because here they are choosing the Goat. Very friendly to Goat vs. Fish. Smiles for Goat vs. Fish. Yes, when they get in the fence, when they're surrounded by the fence, yes, it turns violent and they have a big aggressive versus, but once you get backstage with Goat vs. Fish, it smiles all around with the Goat vs. Fish, and it's a mighty fine versus. Appreciation for choosing Goat.
Look at that cute goat, look at that cute goat, but then all of a sudden, coming in from the vent,
The goat and fish have started wrestling. Did you see that? Did you see that fish move? Watch the fish. Watch the fish coming in from the fence.
that cute goat, but then all of a sudden, coming in from the vent, Are you goat or are you fish? Celebrations all around, celebrations and a whoop.
So the goat and fish finally started wrestling. They took inspiration from JCW. Here is a Green Jellÿ. Here's a whole Green Jellÿ skateboard, which includes the yuck of Goat versus Fish. There's Goat versus Fish on the Green Jellÿ skateboard. And some appreciation posts from Goat versus Fish. We really should have gotten a versus where we saw the whole crowd behind Goat versus Fish, but you have to remember, Goat versus Fish was just focused on giving you the biggest celebration we possibly could. That was the focus of Goat versus Fish. But look, there's still a few goat and fish out there in the crowd, and a fence sitter enjoying Goat versus Fish. So there they are. Thanks for staying behind for this picture with Goat versus Fish. And of course, Faygo was actually banned from these events because all of the Juggalos were throwing Faygo everywhere at all of the wrestlers, but we did find one rogue Faygo behind the scenes, and because Faygo is almost Goat versus Fish, we made it Faygoat versus Fish. Faygoat versus Fish. You may say, Goat versus Fish, this is a very simple thing. How many views on YouTube do you think Sonny the Sunfish has this short 7-second video of Faygoat versus Fish? How many views does that get on YouTube?
2,000.
2,000. Here we are on YouTube. Faygoat versus Fish.
2001.
And if we, 2001, and if no, don't do that.
2002.
And 2002. Clever verses. Well, here we are. Current being something that fish swim in. 731 views. 731 for Faygoat versus Fish. But it will be all the more when you, who are watching Goat versus Fish, you can go and you can watch this YouTube short of Goat versus Fish. And you can contribute to this amazing cinematographic experience that is Goat versus Fish. Okay, the verses continue. There is Little Creepy again, who continues to creep on Goat versus Fish to this versus. More fencing notifications. And here's a versus of Bill Manspeaker's legs. Bill of Green Jellÿ, a fence sitter through and through, shaves their body on rotation, so they have one hairy leg and one smooth leg and one goat leg and one fish leg, and it's all very unsettling to Goat versus Fish. And in this face that Chaos Chris is just throwing fences and looking at Goat versus Fish. But hey, if Titties the Clown can give the finger to Goat versus Fish, then so can Chaos Chris. So if you can't hang with Green Jellÿ and you can't hang with some friendly faces of Green Jellÿ and the Juggalos, then you can't hang with Goat versus Fish. All are welcome to Goat versus Fish. All are welcome to Goat versus Fish. All are welcome to Goat versus Fish.
Yes, the kingfish.
Kingfish fireworks on sale in New Mexico. Lysergic Freak Dick, welcome to Goat versus Fish. Welcome back to the Morning Motivational. We missed you. You've just made it. We've been looking at some Juggalo verses. The verses is non-denominational, but it is dominational. It's dominational. The domination of the goat and the fish. Darth Z-Boss follows Goat versus Fish. Darth Z-Boss, welcome to Goat versus Fish. Thank you for following Goat versus Fish. Is that like Darth Bezos, but you're Darth Z-Boss? Darth Z-Boss! Are you goat or fish? Thanks for following Goat vs. Fish. This is Goat vs. Fish Morning Motivational with Goat vs. Fish and your morning motivational music maker, Sunny the Sunfish. It's sunshine. First message, Darth Z-Boss says, Goat, celebration for goat, celebration for goat. Let's hear it for Darth Z-Boss. Let's hear that. Let's hear that. Oh, you've got this, Versus. We'll get that Versus. We'll get that Versus. Darth Z-Boss. Ah?
Ta-da.
Ta-da! Are you goat or a fish? Darth Z-Boss, what brings you to Goat vs. Fish? Are you a Juggalo? Did you see Goat vs. Fish in Albuquerque or Denver with Violent J, the Juggalos, and Green Jellÿ and Juggalo Championship Wrestling? We've already exceeded our 2-hour mandatory Goat vs. Fish morning motivational, and Sunny the Sunfish has a very special show tonight, so we must get going, but we're almost done reviewing the Juggalo verses. Here we have the Red Snapper. Red Snapper, there's lots of fish fireworks, but no goat fireworks. We don't know why we couldn't find goat fireworks, just exploding fish. Maybe goats haven't learned to explode like the fish. Maybe it's only fish that know how to explode, like a big puffer fish technology. Goat, you'd better get escalate your verses, because fish are learning how to explode and goats are still nowhere to be found. Root Goat versus Fish. US, as you can see, US looks a lot like VS. US looks a lot like VS, and it's Root VS, double Goat versus Fish. Here we have the real Danny Mo reposting Goat vs. Fish. US looks a lot like Fence America. It is pretty fancy out there in Fence America. But we found that even deep in Fence America, there were friendly juggalos to choose goat or fish and to welcome Goat vs. Fish. So it's not all fancy out there, Lysergic Freak. And even in Albuquerque, we saw some signs that were anti-ice. We saw anti-ice signs in Albuquerque, so we think that there are some fish out there that are saying to the goat, hey, stop freezing our water. We don't want ice. We don't want ice around here. So do not despair. There's some fish versing for their rights not to have their water frozen by the goat, and so they're saying, no ice, please. They say it in Albuquerque. And here we have some testimony of Goat vs. Fish. Goat vs. Fish fan 345666 says, yeah, man. Saw you at the Sunshine Theater in Alps. Lots of fun. Best interactive show I've seen. I was the one in the purple Gengar hoodie next to the camera. Appreciation. Here we have the great Gabesby, who was that wizard we saw earlier, who says Goat vs. Fish is legend. Thank you for this verses. We have Pomegranate Juice, who says Goat vs. Fish genuinely changed me for the better. Wow. Wow, if that isn't a stronger recommendation of Goat vs. Fish, then Goat vs. Fish scarcely knows one. Yes, Goat vs. Fish morning motivational. We can make your verses better every single verses. Maybe Goat vs. Fish should adopt this verses of Goat vs. Fish all through the morning motivation. Just a smooth but stern, low radio voice of Goat vs. Fish. Yes. We have DSPCU Tune, who says that was such a fun show. The Dale's a cherry, and I really enjoyed meeting you. Ah, thank you for really enjoying meeting Goat vs. Fish. Thank Thank you for enjoying meeting Goat versus Fish. We have Sydney Nova Art, who met Goat vs. Fish in Los Angeles, who said of Goat vs. Fish versus the Juggalos, the crossover I didn't know I needed. You didn't know you needed Goat vs. Fish, but here we are for you. Here we are for you. Goat vs. Fish didn't know we needed the Juggalos, but we do, but we do. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Hello.
And that's the verses. Then we get back into punk rock bowling. So that's Goat vs. Fish. That's Goat vs. Fish versus the Juggalos versus Juggalo Championship Wrestling and ICP. Thank you for joining Goat vs. Fish. You can find Juggalo Championship Wrestling on the Instagram. We'll give them a shout out. And so that whole verses, this whole nearly all of the morning motivational was dedication to showing you what Goat vs. Fish was up to out there in the universe. Bowser Big Mean Burrito, are you goat or fish? Are you goat or fish? We look here at the verses, the final verses. And we have 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15 fish and 9 goat. But before we go, we're going to do one final quick verses because we want to make some noise for the goat and the fish. We're going to do a quick countdown, quick verses, counting down from Goat versus Fish. We want all the goat in the chat to either type goat or type bleh or to put goat emoji in the chat. That includes you, Darth Z-Boss. That includes you. We're going to count down from Goat versus Fish, and then we want all the goat in the congregation to make some noise for the goat. Here we go. GoatVsFish. Make some noise for the goat. Make some noise for the goat. Appreciation. We've got TW Geeky Girl who says goat, and we have Darth Zebos who says goat. Celebration. That's 2 goat. That's 2 goat. That's 2 goat who made some noise in the verses. Now, because we have some new viewers, here on Goat vs. Fish, we want to remind you that you can also watch the Goat vs. Fish living live streams on YouTube. You can watch the replays on YouTube. And Goat vs. Fish is going to share the link with you now because we'll give you a 10-second grace period here. Goat vs. Fish provides you the YouTube link now. If you go into the YouTube chat and you subscribe to Goat vs. Fish and you type goat into the YouTube chat of Goat vs. Fish, then we will count an extra goat. We'll count an extra goat. We're looking at you, TW Geeky Girl. We're looking at you, Darth Zebos. If we see you in the YouTube chat of Goat vs. Fish, we'll give you a bonus goat. We'll give you a quick count of Goat vs. Fish. GoatVsFish. Do we have goat in the chat? Do we have goat in the YouTube chat? Celebration for goat! Celebration for goat! The Master 2730 says goat in the YouTube chat of Goat vs. Fish! That's how we versus! And now it's time for fish retaliation. It's time for fish retaliation. The goat have a score of 3. Fish in the chat. Whether you're on YouTube or on Twitch or both, it's time for you now. to make your verses known. We're going to count up from fish versus goat, and then we want the fish to make some noise for the fish in the chat of goat versus fish. Here comes the count. Here comes the count. Fish, get ready. Fish, get ready. The verses to beat is 3. Fish, get ready. Fish, get ready. Also, you can use sound alerts to count for bonus verses. If you use fish or goat sounds, that will also count for bonus verses for fish or for goat. Here comes the verses, and as a matter of verses, goats, if you play goat sounds even during fish time, if you're spending your precious bits to play for goat or sounds for goat or fish, then we'll count it for goat. Goat can still increase their score. But now it's time for fish. Fish, get ready to make some noise. H S I F S V T A O G. Make some noise for the fish. Make some noise for the fish. By the way, this hat from Bass Pro Shop apparently costs 20 versus American dollars. Goat vs. Fish bought this hat just for you. And for Goat vs. Fish. And Lysergic Freakfish and T-Bear 505, they say fish. For a score of 2 for the fish, and the fish didn't get in the YouTube. The fish didn't get in the YouTube that versus, but just as we gave the goat a chance to get into YouTube, we'll give the fish a chance to. Fish, you have your chance to get into the YouTube chat. Otherwise, goat wins the verses. This is your chance, fish. H S I F S V T A O G. Let's hear YouTube fish. Dylan Blada 6377 with blood for fish! And there's the final verses. We have 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15 fish. We have 9 goat. We have noise made 3 for goat and 3 for fish and split verses. We have 300 bits for the fish. Thank you for the 300 bits of support for the fish from Summer Sausage. Darth Bezos, thank you for following Goat versus Fish. Goat and Fish, the morning motivational streams will continue tomorrow. Thank you for joining Goat vs. Fish and Sunny the Sunfish on this Goat vs. Fish morning motivational recap.
Thank you.
Before we go, let's just check Sunny the Sunfish's Twitch page. It's Sunshine. It's Sunshine now has 21 followers for It's Sunshine 21 celebration.
Thank you.
Please support our musication maker, It's Sunshine, on their own Twitch channel. Let's get them up to 50 followers so they can get monetization. It's Sunshine. Thank you again for joining Goat vs. Fish.
Thank you.
This has been your morning motivational of Goat vs. Fish. We're back tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tell someone you know. Tell a Juggalo. Can we get a final whoop whoop? Whoop whoop whoop. You have to whoop whoop after.
Whoop. Whoop 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 whoop.
That's how the sunfish whoop whoops.
Whoop whoop!
YouTube, we'll see you on the next verses of Goat vs. Fish. Twitch, stick around. We're going to conduct a radiation. Oh, and there's always another final verses. One more final verses. A verses of appreciation for the Patreon patrons of Goat vs. Fish. Karmic, Brew Lawrence, Atterlead, Sourdough, Watts 9807, Samuel Darris, Tugger Rugger, Drew John, Hogrim, Eldergrown, Uber Kitten, Mama Joe, Brahma Joe, Standard Average, Ben Bird Person, Jimmy Wrench, and the Quaxinator. Join the Patreon of Goat vs. Fish. You can become a free member, but consider giving $5 a month to Goat vs. Fish to help continue in the creation of content like these, content for your contentment. And then we'll put your name on the Celebration Patreon patrons list of Goat vs. Fish. This has been your Tuesday Versus Morning Motivational with Goat vs. Fish Celebration. We'll see you next versus. Are you goat or fish?